What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we're jumping into some more Orcs Must Die Unchained. This time we're heading into the Crogan Keep with Tundra. So, Tundra deck really is not going to work really well for this map at all, mainly due to its size and the level of things that we have coming through here. There's going to be a lot of fast enemies. There's going to be a lot of enemies. And ballistas really don't cut it too well against these enemies. However, swinging maces will help significantly with that, at least for one of the areas. We can route the enemies on the left around the rear, and we should be able to get some use out of there too. So, I think this should actually be okay. Not using ice, we use physical, so let's go ahead and get the discount for that. And I think that'll work out. We will have to keep an eye on Tundra's health. I'm using health and mana siphons in my viscous tar, so it shouldn't be that bad, but you still are not immortal and you don't really have any reprieve to gain your health back other than just running to the rift, so that'll need to be managed relatively well too. It's best probably just to stay back and use Icicle Burst, especially once you have the upgrade that allows it to work well, but to deal its AoE damage. But let's go ahead and hop in.
Point the way.
Okay, so the first thing we have to do, hop over to where this first gate shows up. Gonna go essentially up here.
I do not love these, but I suppose I love our enemy less.
And what we're gonna do is we're just going to let them run all the way around here. Now, that's the ultimate path that we want them to take. If you don't want to build these barricades first, you don't have to. But that prevents me from having to think about it or, you know, do it later. So,
well placed, I think.
I guess we could
Steel and magic are a poor substitute.
set the enemies on fire as they're going this way, and then once again they make it down the stairs. Add something like one of these too. And we can add some slows to this if we don't place those barricades. We could also just use Tundra to sort of act as the wall or barricade of sorts that they need to work their way around.
Let the Orcs and such sing it.
But the main thing I want to focus on is just trying to make sure that our traps are in really effective places to clear the orcs out and not leave any gaps.
Well placed, I think. Steel and magic are a poor substitute for claw and tooth.
These aren't going to stay up for too long. We're probably going to wind up selling all of this when the next wave starts. Or at least moving it a bit further down the lane. We don't want enemies sort of just running through all the traps and not being effectively dealt with because we're not here to draw some of the aggro.
I suppose it will do its duty. Crude?
I'll probably get rid of the stuff that's back here and just move most of it forward a bit after this wave. We don't need to get rid of it completely, but most of the stuff that's directly next to this area will be next to useless. Alright, we're going to let that do everything else and try to head back over here. Blow this thing up real quick.
Let go the blades of winter!
And our heroes destroyed the unstable rift, and there was much rejoicing.
Looks like it worked. Alright. So enemies are going to go out this way going forward.
If we must.
Got a couple things for them to play with.
But I suppose I love our enemy less.
Yeah, you do.
If we must. Steel and magic are a poor substitute for claw and tooth.
So
I suppose it will do its duty.
some of this over here.
But I suppose we must stop at nothing.
Then we'll actually start building things back here. I think I'll keep that coin for now. Running a bit over on time because I'm talking too much.
The army is attacking on another front. Well placed, I think.
But overall, it's not too bad.
I would rather feel my enemy's last breath upon my cheek. They've broken through a gate.
Wrong thing. Okay, there we go.
But I suppose I love our enemy less. Steel and magic are a
Most
poor
important thing you can put over here would
substitute
probably be those.
Well placed, I think.
And then over in the nooks, you drop a few ballista. Now it looks like we want to put a guardian over there on the left, in the area where the kitchen is, so to speak. It's actually not a good idea. The most important place, I'm sorry, in front of the kitchen. In front of the kitchen's a bad idea. This place right here, over here is okay.
Better than any weapon of war.
Key guardian locations are going to be like back here and then back here. And grab chilled weapons. And it looks like the fire ogres and one other thing managed to get to all the flame traps. Fire ogres are kind of expected. Whatever this is, stilt orcs. Okay. It's kind of a good thing because it means for the most part the traps are working. This guy does freeze damage. Alright, so
Crude, but I suppose we must stop at
other Bernie bits that we put over here.
if we must.
Kind of what they were for.
I suppose it will do its duty. The lure is a treasure no thief can cut.
Alright, so these guys are basically going to get mashed up over here. Guardian should drop him. Great.
placed, I think.
Alright, so we're going to place a few more ballista in this area. And then we're going to primarily start focusing on building up the kitchen. Is the area where I placed that guardian. Enemies should be able to get to the kitchen right now, but we're not really guaranteeing that they're going to die there. And that's really where the problem is.
A soldier fights as they are trained.
That was a bad avalanche. Okay. There we go. The large enemy stays back and fights the guardian. Small one gets through.
No executioner was ever so
And I missed.
ice.
Alright, all I really need back here are
Enemies are attacking on another front.
these.
Steel and magic are a poor substitute for claws.
Alright, now we start working on this. I think that should hold the right side.
Watch out! An unstable rift is opening. Get to it and destroy it.
Hard to breathe with a shard of ice in your lungs.
Well done. The unstable rift has been destroyed.
Now, one of the things you can do, if you want this to take a bit more time, add a couple of these. Not so much worried about slowing them down here, but you do want to get that damage out.
I do not love these, but I suppose I love our enemy less.
Most important thing about this area is just that nobody makes it beyond the stairs. If they get beyond the stairs, it means that ultimately we're not taking much damage from the traps.
If we must. A single soldier wisely taught us with 10 empty heads.
Okay. Priest does not seem to be happy over here. Not sure why.
No trespassing.
As long as grenades are thrown against this area where there are no barricades, you're really not going to have an issue if you want to pick off the grenade hunters. You want to be extra careful with the kobolds though, just because they are the most slippery enemies in the game. They can sneak through defenses that would otherwise cripple most other enemies just due to their speed, and that's primarily the only reason we actually have to use slows in the game. Okay, so while we started a good defense on the left side in the kitchen, we did not finish it, and it's going to be important that we do, because now with 2 lanes going through here, perhaps we're going to get fatigued just a tad quicker. All right, so one of the things that we want to add here
I would rather feel my enemy's last breath
can essentially be swinging maces. We really don't need two. You can place one right here
but I suppose I love our enemy
and add some more Bernie bits. Everybody's on fire when they come through here and slow them down as they come around the corner. But now we're going to have to sort of scramble our way over to the final gate.
Look out! Our defenses have been breached again.
And the final gate's a tricky one, so I'm going to recommend that you absolutely place a guardian of some sort here.
They've broken through a gate.
For the most part, these guys are heavy, so all the guns that you want to whip out, bring them.
Winter's spear pierces deep.
All right, there we go. So let's start with slows. Move these back about a half a space once this is over. All right.
Experience is the forebear of wisdom. Continuous improvement of the mind is better than any weapon of war.
Alright, most important thing here is actually just to get these up, and I didn't have enough coin for the second one. It's entirely my fault. I have a dread coming from, I think, somewhere up north.
An unstable rift is opening.
Right here.
Quick, destroy it.
That rift isn't really that dangerous because of the traps that we have in its way. Go ahead and sort of even these up.
I quit my post only when properly relieved.
And now we'll have a whole gaggle of enemies basically floundering about on the left side. And I believe they're either Grenadier Gnolls or explosive archers. It looks like they're the Gnolls. They can just run into the rift, won't really cause any issues. But again, our Guardian's aggro is going to be all tied up. Not really going to be able to deal with everything that's coming through here. Might take a bit of damage off of him too.
Steel and magic are a poor substitute for
So about 4 or 5 ballistas should help out with that. They'll pick off some of the heavier enemies that remain. All of the lighter ones, or enemies that are not fire resistant, should essentially be dead.
I do not love these, but I suppose I love our enemy less. No executioner was ever so busy as Titus.
Alright, well these guys don't actually have any elemental affinity that makes them take more or less damage. They're still kind of dangerous due to the fact that they just keep respawning themselves. Don't manage to kill them, you can wind up taking quite a bit of damage. Okay, the traps actually would have handled that without me being here. It's always better safe than sorry, though. Now let's see how they deal with the enemies coming out of the left side. Looks like should be pretty safe. They're slowed. They're either on fire or getting shot with arrows. I think we're good over here. We still got a good amount of trap space left if we needed it.
I would rather feel my enemy's last breath upon my cheek. If we must. Rude, but I suppose we must stop at nothing.
Not pass.
This lane is actually a little bit tricky because of the extra space that's in it. I believe it's actually about 3 spaces wide in some areas and 2 in others, just because of these narrow doorways and such. So you just want to make sure that if anything happens to be clinging to the left or the right walls and avoiding some of the trap damage, that you deal with them personally. But for the most part, it should be alright.
I protect.
And almost the entire rest of any of your trap count here can just be ballista. You don't really need much else.
They will not pass.
The ballista also help with picking off enemies that might be flipped back from the floor scorchers. Normally they will not actually get hit with any traps because they'd be launched into an area that's trapless, and they'll just have to wait to get back up. That wastes a lot of your time.
The final wave approaches. They've summoned a boss minion. Let Winter's arrows pierce your heart.
Alright, so 2 before will have to be personally handled because of where he is and how we've set up. We didn't place any BGH ballistas in this area that were blocked with a barricade.
The sting of wintertide never heals. They've destroyed our barricades.
And that's a nice little safety measure to give us enough time to replace the barricade here. At least after 2 before goes.
I do not love these, but I suppose I love our enemy less. The enemy's boss is dead.
Everybody else is dead except for these guys, and we got about a minute to kill them. So I think they'll be dead by about the time they start turning the corner here.
They will not.
And there we go. So the swinging maces are somewhat important there. They make up for the lack of damage that Tundra does initially with his attacks. Tundra only gets his damage bonus against enemies that are frozen, and so against anybody else whose damage is more evenly tempered, or without you spamming ice traps, they're going to wind up dealing more damage. And that's important to understand. You can see the difference between Tundra damage and trap damage is huge. Traps did almost 3 times the damage that I did, and that's why we selected the traps that we did. Either way, that works out, and we'll be moving on to the final map for Tundra, final map of the game, Eventide Fortress, for the next video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop those in the comments beneath the video. Not sure which character we'll be doing next, or if I want to do a poll again. There's really not enough time for it. I might just jump into another character of my own choosing, and then, or whoever almost won the poll last time, and then we'll move forward from there. And yeah, I'll throw some other stuff up on the channel in the meantime. There's been a lot of other things that I wanted to highlight and just talk about, bring to you guys' attention, just because there's some really good games that came out. We're at the end of 2018. I hope you guys have had a wonderful year. I know mine has had some significant ups and downs, but I thank all you guys for being here. The new folks that have started to follow the channel, thank you as well. I hope you enjoy the content that's coming out, and yeah, I hope to see a lot more things coming up on the channel in the next year. I know I have a few plans for some stuff, but we'll see how all of it goes. Either way, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and have a good one, folks.